Hi everybody. Here's my face. It is me. You don't need to see my face though to see this demonstration. I just have a small demonstration to show you to demonstrate the concept of torque. So what I have here is it's just a piece of metal that I just found in the classroom that has a bolt on it, a nut tightened onto that bolt, and I'm going to try to get that bolt loose with this tool here. It's a screwdriver with the socket on the end that happens to fit this nut, and I am going to try as best as I can to get this bolt loose. And I'm not just playing, but I really can't do it. It's a really tight bolt, tough nut to crack, if you will. That's a joke, by the way, for those of you that caught that. Might have gone flying right past you though. Can't do it, all right? But now I'm going to change tools, and I'm going to use this. This is a socket wrench that has a little bit of a ratcheting action to it. Notice, just look at the difference between these two. Maybe that will give you a hint. And I'm going to try to get this thing loose. Let's see, that's tightening. I don't want to tighten it, I want to loosen it. And there we go. Doesn't seem to have any problem at all getting this bolt loose with that wrench. It didn't take much force at all to get this nut loose, and there it is. I'm done. A few seconds with this tool, not very long with this one. And you might ask why. Well, I'll tell you the reason. If you'll look at the difference between these two, it all has to do with torque, and we'll talk about torque in another video, but basically there are a lot of differences between these two tools, but the main difference is the distance from where you apply the force to the axis of rotation. And if you'll notice, in this tool, the axis of rotation is the shaft of the screwdriver here in the middle, and it runs through the middle of the screwdriver, as we see here. And I'm going to apply the force directly to the outside of the screwdriver like this. And so the distance between where the force is applied and where the rotation is actually taking place is only about that far. Okay, and that works for some things, but obviously it didn't work with our job that we had today. But now if you'll look at my wrench here, same socket that I had on the end of this tool, and so this is the axis of rotation. This is where the rotation occurs, okay? But this is different because whereas I applied the force here and the axis of rotation is right down the middle of the handle, so I only had a distance of about that far. Now, where I apply the force can be as far out as the end of this handle on this wrench, which means that the distance from where I apply the force to where the actual axis of rotation is quite a bit larger. It's approximately something like this. In fact, I can grab a ruler and let's actually see what it is. The distance from the center of this screwdriver to the outside of the screwdriver is, well, you make the judgment call for yourself, but looks like, I don't know, having a hard time getting it going here. Approximately 1 centimeter is what it looks like to me. Maybe a little over 1 centimeter. Whereas the distance from where I apply the force to the axis of rotation on this wrench, it may be as much as, you make the judgment call, 10, 12, 13, close to 14 centimeters. 13 to 14 times what the axis of rotation is on this one. It's not that the bolt got tighter. It's not that I all of a sudden got a lot stronger when I put this wrench in my hand, even though you sound really cool when you're using a tool that ratchets. You sound like a real mechanic or something like that. But none of that has anything to do with it. And even though the ratcheting action works, I can actually turn the ratcheting off to where it doesn't work at all, and it would still do the same thing. The main difference is the difference in the distance from where the force is applied to the axis of rotation. With torque, that's called the moment arm, okay, or the torque arm, and that's the main difference with these tools. You'll almost never use a tool like this on a car. Car bolts are usually much, much tighter, which means they require much more torque to loosen. And the best way, the easiest way to increase the amount of torque on a wrench or on a bolt is to increase the length of the handle of the wrench. That increases the length of the distance from where I apply the force to the axis of rotation. And that's a really good demonstration of how torque works in an everyday situation.